Festa do fim de semana, só rolê bom. Ela chega e desencana com passo bem sou, passo bem sou, passo bem sou. Na festa do fim de semana.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another wonderful round brought to you by the Sausage Dodgers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of the toughest challenges in all of motorsport, the legendary Sebring International Raceway. Built on a former World War II airbase in Central Florida, Sebring is famous for its brutal concrete patch surfaces, relentless bumps, and unforgiving high-speed corners. Tonight, the Porsche Cup drivers strap into the raw rear-ended Porsche 911 Cup machines, cars with no traction control, no ABS, safety nets, beyond racing calibration, and a reputation for rewarding precision while punishing mistakes. This 3.74-mile circuit features 17 corners that demand total commitment, from the fast-flowing sweep of turn 1 to the technical braking zones at turn 7 and turn 10, and finally the iconic run onto the Ullman Straight. Drivers will be managing tire wear, brake temperatures, and concentration every single lap. Sebring doesn't just test speed, it tests survival instincts. In Porsche Cup racing, momentum is everything. Clean exits, smart racecraft, and patience in traffic will be the difference between fighting for the podium and falling victim to the track's unforgiving nature. Expect bold overtakes, under braking, cars dancing over the bumps, and a race where consistency should be the ultimate winning strategy. Strap in. It's time for Porsche Cup action at Sebring, brought to you by the Sausage Dodgers. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Sagar Bakshi, a.k.a. The Real High, and it's a pleasure to be with you from green to checkered flag. Getting the tower a little stretched out because we have over 40 drivers participating tonight. It is awfully crazy what we have done here with the Sausage Dodgers. So far, it's Matt Webb topping the charts in P1 with a 2:06.9. Nice. Ben Georgiev in P2, Menderes in P3, Stephen Norori in P4, Francisco Cardula in 5th, and that'll round out your top 5 before we get the results for qualified posted here in just a few minutes time. Few drivers still finishing up their last laps around the circuit, such as Mr. Kenny right now driving the 000 driver with an I rating of 3.4K coming through the back straightaway for getting down towards the ultimate turn. Sunset Bend, turn 17 is where the drivers have really got to push it to the limit. Andrew Kenny is looking green in the final few sectors. Will it be any marginal improvement for Kenny in the 000 at the end of the day? Yes! He'll go up to 11th position at the end of that run. Time well spent in the cockpit getting down to it at the end of the day. That should just about conclude the qualifying session. Waiting for the results to get populated here before we go green. Here are those results for you folks in qualifying. Matt Webb, the privateer, with a 2-minute 6:85. Ben Georgiev in P2. Mert Menderes in P3. Tessitore in 4th. Noori in 5th. Cardillo in 6th. El Center in 7th. Brandon Arnoux, Casimiri, Kenny Gabbiati, Beck Hughes, Han Simpkins, Clark, Mitchell, Richards round out the top 8. Moving over to the rest of the rest. Andrew Kenny in 11th, Richards in 18th, Tarek Luati, Tonquez, Williams, Stagnito, Brunker, Buccanelli, Falchi, McCarthy, Marcilla, Grabner, Beton, Nedzov, Pizzetti, Darsh, Nugumov, Clark, Aleto, Ewers, Tedeschi, and Hines. Oh man, is that it? And Witt rounding out all of the participants here tonight. Holy Toledo, we've got a grid of cars ready to take the green flag here tonight, folks. We're ready to go racing here at Sebring. Short race format for heat number 1, but for heat number 2 it'll be a long 40-minute one. And we're ready to go green, folks, and it's a great start for Matt Webb. Ben Georgian in P2, falling a little further back right now. Worse for wear are the drivers further back, going 2-3 wide through turn number 1. It's getting hectic, it's getting chaotic, but will it stay green and clean? It looks like it just might be green and clean. There goes Vincenzo Stagnino as well, charging through the field right now. He's doing a great job right now, and there's a spinner. That's Nick Esler, who spun around and is trying to get pointed in the right direction yet again. Big dives here for position changes. Cardullo in the mix up ahead, trying to battle his way forward right now, but he can't find any fare on Andrew Kenny. Battle for the lead is on like Donkey Kong, because Georgiev is going for a move on Matt Webb, coming through what looked like Cunningham Corner, now through Collier Curve into Tower Turn. It'll be the HPR Esports machine number 18 leading us on lap number 1. Jack McCarthy in a bit of a tussle himself, coming through Gendibben Bend and onto Lamar Curve. Matt Webb back into the lead, sends it at turn 17, but can the HPR esports machine close down the gap here at Sunset Bend? They're bouncing and banging all over the place right now, trying to do whatever they can to get an advantage on the other. The 18 bobs and weaves every which way, trying to get advantage around the 333, but can't find the daylight at turn number 1, falls in single file line, but the daylight is there for the overlap at turn number 2. He looks to the inside line, presents himself, and a little bit of door banging galore between himself and the 333, but no love lost between drivers. No harm, no foul. There's the 333, bounce the curbs and follows in single file line behind the 18. But the 190 of Steven Norori is challenging the Nicaraguan driver, challenging forward on the outside line. Don't forget about the 691, who's lost a position on the good of things, trying to regain those positions, and a big check up there from the 190 into the side of the other car. Now Matt Webb is checked up, and the driver from Wales has fallen worse for wear, and he is basically parked it on track. Not sure what's happened to Webb, but he has gone back down to pit lane. See if we get a replay of what happened here to Webb. Just pulls off. No idea what's happened to our race leader. We'll have to check in with him in the Discord. Look at how wide everybody's entry is coming into Le Mans. It is just relentless here. Speaking of relentless, Philip Grabner in the number 20, trying to battle with Andrea Pizzetti in front. The Italian man can't be challenged. Not here, not now, not ever, he says. Looking forward at Jason Brandt's battle with, this is going to be Pedro Arnaud out in front, and Arnaud gets the position done there. Jack McCarthy clearing a slowdown penalty at the final turn, is going to challenge him going in towards turn 1, because Nick Elsner is there and presenting himself pretty squarely right now going in towards turn 1, and that position will go his way. Looking back at Finn Caitlin, he's got Philip Grabner and Andrea Pizzetti out in front of him now. Epic race, epic showdown. It's only been 5 minutes of race running so far. We still have a whole nother heat coming at you. There goes Grabner and Caitlin's battle, and a big spin for Caitlin, getting on the loud pedal, coming out of the hairpin turn onto the Fangio chicane. Leave them vulnerable to the attacking Simon Darsh out in front of him now. Battle for the lead has escaped to be over 1 second. Bert Menderes is going to be the driver in P2, and Steven Norori now back into P3. 2 positions gained on the evening. Whoa, big gaggle of Porsches here in the backfield, as this is a big gaggle of cars here. No, and it ends in tears for fears as Mark Richards gets involved with an incident with the number 41. And Richards trying to get it spun back around and pointing in the right direction again. Super unfortunate that that's how the battle ended. Hello, Simone Massey. welcome to the broadcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Really appreciate your love, Mr. Massey. Wish you were on track with us here tonight as the 67 goes door to door with a 369 of Fabio Falchi. Right now, Elijah Mitchell in the number 67 to the inside line, coming through Gurney Bend down towards the hairpin turn. They'll be separated by just about nothing as we approach the hairpin. 67 goes aggressive on the inside line, gets on the loud pedal, and is able to go through. Checking back in with more battles up front that continue to brew. Jason Brandt getting chased down by Casimiri Alejandro in the 984. On board now with the 984 of Casimiri, closes down the gap on the 11 at the apex of Sunset, but it might have been a little too early. Vincenzo Stagnino going door to door with Nick Elsner, who had that slip up at the hairpin turn. Now Vincenzo Stagnino is going to go through at turn 1, but Nick pulls out the fastest lap of the race, a 2:01.11 on that last time around, and pushes out Stagnino a little bit on entry to turn 2. Although Nick Elsener is from Switzerland and is down 7 positions, might be my vote for driver of the day, has done an amazing job to continue to battle forward despite what has happened to them. Checking in with the battle for the lead now, the gap has come down substantially as Mert Menderes now is there behind the number 18. Lap times were going the way of Menderes continuously the last few laps or so, but didn't see anything significant happen to the number 18 now, so he's looking pretty for at least a podium. We're looking pretty for a first place battle right now as we have a little bit of traffic ahead, and we all know traffic giveth, traffic taketh away at times, but hopefully it doesn't get involved here. Here comes the 691 to the inside line at Sunset Bend. Gonna make that one work, but the switchback exists for the number 18, who's gonna get it back alongside on the exit. Now the run down the pit road straight away is going to be fast and fierce. The 190 trying to pick an optimum line to follow through as well. The 691 to the inside line, the 18 to the outside line. We're going to go wheel to wheel racing here at Sebring, folks. Welcome to the Sunshine State as the 691 goes through the 18. Can't find the daylight to keep it wheel to wheel for now. The 190 is there. The 10 dip dives and dodges out of the way. And that is a great back marker. Thomas P. Hines staying out of the way in 34th position. Staying glued to this battle, keeping an eye on the timing tower. Francisco Cardullo and Jason Brandt are going to go wheel to wheel here at Cunningham Corner, but Cardullo can't close down the gap. Finn Caitlin and Andrea Pizzetti here, the 92 and the 83, also at Cunningham Corner. Now the 83 tucked back in single file line behind the 92 of Finn Caitlin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff, folks. Really helps out the analytics and helps us grow our wonderful community that we have here with the Sausage Dodgers Racing organization. Simone Massey asks, what position Marcella and Aledo? Let's check where Aledo is. Emanuelek Marcella is going to be in P37, the Italian driver for Team Racing Point. And we're looking for Aledo. And Pierpaolo Aledo in the number 90 is running P32, about 5.5 seconds behind Leslie Simpkins in P38. Checking back in, this is the battle for P33 and P34 with a big dive to the inside line. The 10 was in too deep at the hairpin corner. That's Thomas P. Hines driving the number 10. Made the mistake, committed to it, and avoided any contact from the rest of the field. Again, good heads-up driving there. Jason Brandt, Francisco Cardullo, and Alejandro Casimiri in a little bit of a tussle in the battle for P10. Things finally quieting down a smidgen or two. Drivers separating themselves on the racetrack by a couple of tenths rather than a couple of thousandths of seconds. Richard Beaton and Fabio Falci are going to be the two drivers closest on track, separated by 0.2 of a second. On board with the 5.53 now, as he looks to the inside line here at Sunset Bend, forces the 3.69 to go deep and offline. The 5.53 finds the position there. Up ahead, it's going to be Bart Tonks, the Netherlands driver with the Heineken Mobile, going door to door with the 81. And we're going to continue to battle out. This is the battle for P10 right now. Tonks holds on to P9, but for how long, as there is Tedeschi up ahead. The back marker in the 33 is going to go around and park it in the middle of the racetrack. That's not a good place to be. Unfortunate for Bart Tonks there. Get a quick replay of what happened to the 33. Coming through on the outside line, gets up on the gravel and just loops it there. Luati, the Tanzanian driver. This is Simon Darsh in the 44 to the inside line here. Defending hard, defending fair from Tarek. Then the number 66 Monster. Got a Cunningham corner. It's looking pretty good for the 66. Trying to get the switchback. Pulled out of thin air. He might have it here on the inside line. The 44 slams the door shut. Says, no thank you, sir. You may not come to my soiree. But now that opens up the door for the 66 to be on the optimum line. Coming through Bishop Bend. Up ahead, it's Matthew Clark being chased down by the recovery drive of Nick Elsener. The Swiss driver back up into P10 now. Up ahead, the 000 under threat from the 190. Or is it the 984 we have to worry about with the 190 as they're going to touch going into the hairpin corner, and that's going to send the 984 around for a spin, and Alejandro Casimiri could be driving with fumes coming out of that cockpit as he loses not one, not two, but 4 positions. Again, defending hard, defending fair now. The 984 Casimiri defends against the 88 behind. Nearly 3 wide going down in towards sunset. That is absolute insanity. The drivers all make it through fair and cleanly. We are on the last lap of the event, folks. Battle for the lead here and very much alive. Menderes, Georgiev, Tessitore in tow. Georgiev pushing as hard as he possibly can, but it might not be enough as he touches a little too much grass coming through the Fangio chicane. Now, Mert Menderes didn't start off in pole position. The German driver started off in P3 in the Banana Boat 691. Fought very hard early on in this race, and now pay the dividends back. Good battle early on with Matt Webb, who seemingly had a mechanical issue and had to drop out of the race. Unfortunate circumstances there. The 691 weaves to the pit wall to try to break the tail from the number 18 of Ben Georgiev behind, who has one last opportunity to make a last lap lunge, but it's far too little too late, or is it, as the 691 is now under threat from the 18, and it's gonna be a photo finish drag to the line. The 691 finishes 5 thousandths in front of Georgiev at the end of the day. Alejandro Tessitore in P3, Pedro Arnaud in P4. Let's check in with a couple more battles to the line as Nick Elsner is able to get by Mauro Gabbiati. They're separated by literally nothing. 000s for the interval at the end of the day. Alejandro Casimiri rounds out your top 10, and we'll wait for the official results to come in just a few moments' time. Remaining drivers getting to the line here and now, coming through sunset. Ben Pierre Bruckner. Bruckner. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Pierre Bruckner. Apologize for any mispronunciations here on the broadcast. First time getting all these names. If you don't mind shooting me a DM at High 1908 with the correct pronunciation, I'd really appreciate that a lot. Let's see if we can get Mert into the interview room. If he'll come up to the broadcast booth and come on down, we'll interview Mert Menderes, who took the win here for the first session. We do have another heat coming up in just a few moments' time, so don't go anywhere, folks, with the provisional results posted here in just a few moments' time. At this time, we'll give a big shout out and thanks to everybody in the Patreon, those of you on the Meat Wall or monthly subscribers. On the Meat Wall, we have Andrew Kesterton, Simon Hutchings, and Paul Cook. Thank you to everybody in the Tier 1, Leslie Simpkins, Andrew Kenny, Mark Richards, and I believe Jack McCarthy. Provisional results here posted. Mert Menderes took P1, Georgiev in P2, Tessitore in P3, Pedro Arnaud in P4, Andrew Kenny in 5th, Stephen Norori in 6th, Francisco Cardillo, Nick Elsner, Mauro Gabbiati, Alejandro Casimiri. Gonna round out your top 10. Matthew Clark in P11, Tim Williams in 12th, Vincenzo Stagnito, Jack McCarthy, Philip Grabner, Eliza Mitchell, Andrea Pizzetti, and Fabio Falci will round out the top 18. 19 good for Jason Brandt, Bart Tonks in 20th, Richard Beaton in 21, Tarek Luati in P22, Nick Ewer, Simon Darsh, Mark Richards, Claudio Bucanelli, Roman Zudnov, Pierre Bruckner in P28. P29 belonging to Dmitro Nugumov, Pierre Paolo Aleto, Sam Marshall, Marino Koloric, Thomas P. Hines, Emanuel Marcilla, Leslie Simpkins, Valerio Tedeschi, Finn Kalin, Carolo Carneco, Jeffrey D. Witt, Kevin D. Hahn, Matt Webb, and Wesley Bookhouse. Holy Toledo rounds out everybody participating in this championship. Holy Toledo, folks. Holy Toledo is all I can say. The drivers have provided us with so much entertainment and so much excitement. What do you predict for heat number 2? Let me know in the Discord, in the YouTube chat, what you think of for heat number 2. Coming up live in just a few moments' time. We have 3 minutes left in the warm-up session. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. We'll be right back in just a few moments. Eliza Mitchell actually said, I had that triple overtake and cooked myself. Man, oh man. A lot of drivers succumbed to their own mistakes, especially coming out of the hairpin corner. It was quite tricky there. Remember, if you like what you see, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, and join us on Discord. Check out the Sausage Otters. All the information's in the description down below, folks. Really appreciate it if you join us in that Discord channel. And let us know what you think. Talk to us about the championship. Talk to us about your race. Let us know how things are going. Couple keys to the race. Obviously, key number one, surviving the bumps. You have to survive the bumps here at Sebring to make it to the checkered flag. Exit speed can be everything for the drivers, especially coming out of Le Mans onto the Ullman Straight, out of Sunset, onto the front straightaway as well. Which leads us into tire management conversations. The temperature being 42 degrees Celsius out there right now. It is super hot for the drivers. I cannot believe the way things are going right now. The drivers are just cooking the tires. Humidity at 47%. Ambient temperature up to 25 degrees Celsius as well. That leads us into key number 4. Patience will win, folks. Patience is going to be everything, especially when it comes down to the 40-minute race and the pit stop strategies coming into effect. Drivers are going to jostle for positions left, right, and center. Getting ready for heat number 2, folks. Take a look at our grid. It'll be Philip Grabner alongside Jack McCarthy, Vincenzo Stagnito, and Tim Williams. All in row number 2, Matthew Clark, Alejandro Casimiri. On the third row, Mauro Gabbiati, Nick Elsner, Francisco Cardullo, Stephen Norori, Andrew Kenny, and Pedro Arnaud. And it's green, 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 folks, and a great start for Grabner and Matthew Clark in the background trying to make things happen here at turn number 1, but it's going to be a hit for himself going into, I believe, Stagnito and send him deep and wide into the backfield. And it's a gaggle of Porsches coming through corner number 1. Headlights are on, headlights are flashing for the entire field as drivers try to make positions left, right, and center. Andrew Kenny in that 000 battling with Alejandro Tessitore, the podium finisher right now. In this battle, they're going to be side by side coming down in towards the trickiest braking zone, the hairpin bend in the HPR Motorsports car. It'll be the 18 of Ben Georgia, but the 83 further back tumbles and falls coming out of the hairpin corner. Andrew Kenny under threat from Ben Georgiev right now in that number 18 who looks to the inside line. Can he get a fully there? He is going to be fully alongside, but touching a little bit of grass on exit. Andrew Kenny's going to defend, but not too hard. He's okay with losing one position, potentially not two at the same time. Checking back in a little further, it's Finn Caitlin, Simon Darsh, and Roman Zidnov in the backfield. Whoa, and that is a huge hit in the background. I think that might have been Marcilla. Yes, that was Marcilla going huge into the wall. Mark Tonks getting into a bit of an accident as well. Let's see what happened here to Tonks. Oh, and it looks like he was just getting involved in the earlier incident and then backs up onto the racetrack. Battle here for the lead continues to brew as Jack McCarthy is in P3 trying to challenge forward for potentially a better points paying position. Mark Menderes Our race winner in that 691, getting a 2-for-1 special, gets by Andrew Kenny and Alejandro Tessitore here. Phil Grabner under threat from Nick Elsner, who's trying to get by the Swiss driver, pushing and banging the 88 here at the hairpin corner, but not so much. Falls in single file line, thinks of battling for a better opportunity. Nick Ewers in the Sausage Dodgers Racing Machine, a good sponsor of the stream. Thank you very much to Nick Ewers' love and support of the broadcast. You'll see his logo pop up, Gemini Prestige Vehicle Movers, during the replay. If you're ever interested in sponsoring the Sausage Dodgers, come talk to one of the admins. We'd love to have you on board. Leslie Simpkins, though, battling with the teammate, might not seem like the smartest decision to make, because we have Claudio Buccanelli in front who we can tango with a little later. 55 yields the position pretty steadily to the 399, but again, doesn't want to lose 2-for-1, not one for the 92 as well. Philip Grabner loses a position to Nick Elsner now, coming out of Sunset. See a replay of this move here. Be a move to the inside line. And then is just running away with it right now, as Grabner is now under threat from Jack McCarthy and the 190 of Stephen Norori. Cars fanning out in all different directions. 2x2 into the hairpin. 2x2x2, because why not here with Sausage Dodgers Racing? Into Cunningham corner. Whoa, no, it's a big spin. I think that's Mauro Gabbiati. It is Mauro Gabbiati. Back up to the battle between Ben Georgiev, Philip Grabner, Jack McCarthy, and Pedro Arnaud. The HPR team exercising a little bit of team orders, but Jack McCarthy goes a little in too deep on the drivers around him. Try to get a 2-for-1 special on the 188 and the number 20, but couldn't find it there. Now will find the slipstream behind Pedro Arnaud and use it to his advantage. Philip Grabner now giving him the tow. And now it'll be a good run going down and towards Sunset Bend for the number 7, but the outside line is a little bit tricky, and more outside lines being taken as Alejandro Casimiri in the 984 challenges forward and gets by Kenny. Leslie Simpkins gets slipped by Claudio Buccanelli in that number 9. Will it also be the 92 of Finn Caitlin to also snake on by? Not here, not now. Saw a change of position here. That was Mark Richards and Andrew Kenny there, and the 66 of Tarek Luati getting involved in the tussle. Battle for the lead keeps on brewing up to be something. Here's Philip Grabner still under threat from Pedro Arnaud behind. The 188 looking menacing right now. the AZR Motorsports team. Side by side, coming down the back stretch. Oh no, and a touch there, and that'll send Philip Grabner down the order by a long shot. Desatore under threat from the 000 of, attacking forward. I was keeping an eye on the 000 who was battling forward with Alejandro Casimiri. Pier Paolo Aleto here with Simon Darsh up ahead. Has Fabio Falchi behind, battling pretty steadily right now. Checking in with the battle for the lead. It continues to brew again. Best lap set by Nick Elsner here, 2:01.56. Last lap, best lap. Stephen Norori, though, driving the 2:02s flat last time around. 2:01.5. New last lap, fast lap for Elsner. Now, can he keep up that pace and consistency throughout this entire stint? We have 30 left to go on the clock. We will have a pit stop requirement. The question is, will the drivers be taking pit stops or not? Claudio Buccanelli and Jason Brandt aren't worried about that right now. They're worried about tussling for position. Up ahead as well, it'll be Eliza Mitchell and Nick Ewers. No, excuse me, that's Roman Zanov. In the 4.82 behind, Nick Ewers is ahead by around 1.2 seconds and watching this battle in his rear view mirror. Nearly 3 wide coming down in towards the hairpin. The 4.82 is going to bump and bang doors here with the car ahead, and that's not going to end well for Zadnov as he ends up in the wall. Nugubanov, the Ukrainian driver, under threat now from Vincenzo Stagnito behind. Sim Drivers EU team down 22 positions this race. Unfortunately was taken out very early on in this event and has not been able to recover. Up ahead, here's Webb and Richards coming through Sunset Bend. Little brief kiss of the wall there for Webb as we get by Mark Richards behind. And little graze of the wall. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love that reminder. Like we said earlier on in the broadcast, it is quite hot here in Sebring tonight. Under the Florida sun, it is very hot, and the drivers are feeling the heat and the pressure, such as Ben Georgiev, who's up 12 positions on the good. Trying to defend back from Norori in the 190. Biggest gainer right now is Matt Webb, who's gained 31 positions on track, fallen into top 10 right now. And something happened to Ewers here. Quick replay of what happened to Ewers. Oh, and he just ran out of talent, it looks like. And lost it all on his own coming down into Tower Turn. Pedro Arnaud under threat from Mert Menderes, driver of the 691, and no longer under threat because Menderes has gotten the move done. Fast laps coming in from the field, but the fastest lap going to Matt Webb as he finds clean air. No longer, as he has Jack McCarthy to tussle with at turn 1. This battle will continue all the way down towards turn 2 in the 333. Wales driver is now through into P9. Richards and McCarthy go wheel to wheel coming out of Gurney Bend down towards the hairpin. They'll be separated by just a credit card between the two when the 420 turns in, falls in single file line behind McCarthy. Brandt and Buccanelli here battling for 19th and 20th position. Here's a look from the 11 on the number 9. Will it be a send and a half? He can't commit fully. Jason Brandt, the Norwegian, exercising a lot of patience to get this overtake done on Claudio Buccanelli. Couple of pit stop callers already here at the 23-minute mark. Andrew Kenny, Vincenzo Stagnito, and Pierpo. Webb continues to attack, this time on Kazmiri. The move is done and dusted before we can even get a look at it. Here's Jack McCarthy battling with Tarek Luati. Buccanelli and Brandt continue their bout here as the 9 mounts the curb in aggression, trying to find an outside line. The Italian man gives the squeeze to the number 11 here at Tower Turn. Coming down the Flying Fortress straight into Bishop Bend. There's a thought and a mix-up here. Matt Webb is involved in this exchange, and Webb on this drive is up 35 positions tonight. Pedro Arnaud comes down pit road. Brandt again, going wheel to wheel with Buccanelli here. And a nice looking switchback for the number 9, but the 11 covers it off. Pitch perfectly at turn 2. Checking in here with the leaders again. The gap? Well, it's slinkied back and forth. Nick Elsner had a 4-second gap to Stephen Norori. The gap has come down to right around 3.9. Not saying it's a lot, but it is slinking towards Georgie's favor. At the end of the day, Stephen Norori staying as close as possible to the number 18 to try to catch as much of that slipstream to keep on driving forward. Although Matt Webb still up 35 positions and making that more with every breath he takes. Couple of pit stop calls being made right here, right now. Triple three, Matt Webb closed down on Mert Menderes, a race winner from heat number 1. And it looks like the 333 gets through at pit lane. What an overtake! What an overtake! Darsh, Luati, Pizzetti. Lap times going the way of Darsh for now. Lot of pit stops being made right now, folks. 66 gets the move on the 44, but is he in too deep? I think he can find the grip there, but the 44 dips down pit road. And Tarek Iluwadi has already made his pit stop, so he'll gain a whole bunch during the cycle. Alejandro Tessitore looking for a move there on Pedro Arnaud. Drivers pushing their stint as far as 12 laps so far. Arnaud and Tessitore on fresh stints themselves, both making their pit stops and bobbing their way through Sunset Bend. Last of the pit stops taking place now, including Richards and Norori. Pedro Arnaud still under threat. The 4 is there, goes door to door, and exchanges a little bit of paint between himself and the 88. Tessitore finds P4. Excuse me, P6 for the number 4. Battle here includes Steve Norori, who slotted in between Francisco Cardullo and Mert Menderes. Wheels dipped off into the gravel for the 190 as Norori is pushing as hard as he can, chase down the 75 of Francisco Cardullo up ahead. Norori pushing that first stint, those 12 laps. Now begins the second part of their run. Gap slinking away. Mert Menderes might be looking for a move on the 190 as the Nicaraguan driver keeps on slipping back from Francisco Cardullo ahead. Checking back in with Jack McCarthy and his battle with Tarek Luati. Jack is unfortunately down 15 positions tonight. Switches up, goes to the optimum line, headed it down into the hairpin. 66 occupying the optimum line. Real estate goes a little wide. The 7 is through at Fangio. Andrea Pizzetti battling with Dugumov. Nugumanov in the number 47 up ahead, up 4 positions tonight. But Pizzetti needs to recover themselves. Pedro Arnaud in a little bit of a tussle with Alejandro Tessitore through Sunset Bend. Alejandro Casimiri is there as well in this three-way menage a trois. The 4, the 188 bump doors coming down in towards turn 3. Tessitore is not going to like that very much. Pedro Arnaud defends the inside line from the number 4. Can the Vera Pele racing team get a move done here in the closing stages of the race? Only 9:45 remaining on the clock. Jason Brand, Jack McCarthy there on the brakes though. Avoids the contact there, and Jack McCarthy falls back to P16 very quickly. Looking at Nick Ewers and his battle with Pizzetti coming through Gurney Bend. Looking good for Ewers on the attack. P25 overall. Back here coming into turn 1. Tessitore now leads Pedro Arnaud and Alejandro Casimiri as Casimiri gets the move done on Pedro. Things have quieted down considerably. Let's check in here with Thomas P. Hines and Marino Kolarek as they're battling here at the hairpin corner. The number 10, Thomas P. Hines from the UK, was a little deep on the brakes there at the hairpin and loses out touching distance with driver ahead. Checking back in with the Casimiri Tessitore Arnaud debacle, as this one hasn't settled down just yet. Bobbing, weaving every which way, trying to defend the 4. Defends hard from the 984 behind. .984 trying to go the long way around the outside here at the hairpin and pushing every which way to find the daylight to get around. Nick Elsner has that 5.3 second gap back to Ben Georgiev in P2. Francisco Cardullo running in third, but only 0.3 behind Ben in that battle for P3. Mert Menderes on an island by himself in the 691. In fourth place, Alejandro Testor, Alejandro Casimiri, and Pedro Arnaud. Right in front of us, battle for 5, 6, and 7. A 984 trying to challenge at Sunset Bend. May have forced the 4 into an inoptimum line, but this is going to challenge him and the 188 right now. All this battling is looking good for the likes of Mark Richards, who's in the background licking his lips right now as he's up 17 positions on the good. Jason Brandt and Tarek Luati go door to door through turn 1. That's a good looking switchback from the number 11. Can he keep it together on the brakes coming down towards turn 2? It's looking good. It's looking a little scary for the 66. Someone's got to back out here before we get to Gurney Bend. And problems that solve themselves as the 66 collides with the 11 and runs into the wall. Mauro Gabbiati here and Finn Caitlin battle for best of the rest and P9, P10. Finn Caitlin is up 27, make that 28 positions as they battle with Mauro Gabbiati, who's down 2. Mark Richards now exchanges blows with Pedro Arnaud here. And Finn Caitlin still battling with the likes of Kenny and a touch. And that'll end that battle, unfortunately. The likes of the number 4 battling for P5 has Alejandro Casimiri behind. Pedro Arnaud 1.2 seconds back, has Mark Richards to worry about for now. Vincenzo Stagnino looks to the inside line on Fabio Falci, who isn't really scathed by the attack and really just follows through on an optimum line and pulls out a half-second gap from thin air. Jack McCarthy, though, has Eliza Mitchell to worry about. Eliza Mitchell started in 16th, is still in 16th, trying to advance in the final stages of this race. Battle for the lead has changed as Elsner makes a mistake. Let's get a replay of what happened here for the 88 going into the final lap pretty much. Oh no! All by his lonesome. Gives the race to Ben Georgiev. And with 30 seconds left to go on the clock, Ben Georgiev will lead us on the final lap, folks. Elijah Mitchell, Jack McCarthy, still battling it out. And the 70 of Marcilla is there, who yields out of the way. The 67 is through on the number 7 of Jack McCarthy. Oh, and Vincenzo Stagnito has a crash in the final stages of the race and will most likely have to come down pit road to repair that damaged meatball flag for him. Ben Georgiev now 13 positions gained on the evening. Pretty fantastic run of things. Challenged forward, continued to challenge forward despite it not looking good. Kept the tires beneath him and dialed it back just a percentage or two that he needed to make sure that he made it to the checkered flag mistake free. That's the story of tonight, folks. The mistake free race here at Sebring for Ben Georgiev, who's gonna take the win for the feature race. Georgiev takes the win here at Sebring for the inaugural race for the Porsche Cup Season 2 with the Sausage Dodgers. Nick Elsner will take home P2, Mert Menderes in P3, Francisco Cardulo in 4th, Tessitore in P5, Alejandro Casmiri in 6th, Pedro Arnaud in 7th, Mark Richards in 8th with a hard-fought 17 positions gained, Mauro Gabbiani in 9th, Finn Caitlin in 10th.
Hello, good race.
Hello.
Hello.
Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with right now?
With Mert Menderes.
Mert Menderes. Hello. How do you do, my good friend?
Fine actually. I had 2 good races. The second one was a bit more, was way tougher. With all these incidents ahead of me and all the fights.
One second. I don't think you're coming through on Discord. Let me.
Am I?
You are coming through on Discord. Okay, I just wanted to make sure
nice.
for the broadcast. You know, it's a long walk from pit road up to the broadcast booth here in Florida. We got to make sure that the technicalities are taken care of. But Mert Menderes, you had a pretty stellar Heat 1. Let's talk about that first and foremost before we talk about Heat number 2. How's that sound?
Yeah, totally fine. First race went way better for me anyway, so.
Now talk to us about your preparation coming into a race like this? This was a big grid of drivers. Did you prepare at all? Did you look forward to this race? What were your expectations?
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw the series because I was like, maybe I should try a bit more Porsche Cup because I usually am a GT3 driver, and since it's Sebring, I also had some solid knowledge on that as well, and I had a good like weekend where I just did a few stints, and yeah, I was actually surprised as well that there are 42 drivers. I thought like, okay, 50 are on the sim grid, that means like probably there are like around 30 on the grid,
Right.
but yeah, I'm surprised by the attendance.
Yeah, myself included. It was an action-packed race. You had a good qualifying for heat number 1. Now, for the reverse grid for the feature race, what were your expectations or what were your plans for making it through such an intense grid of drivers?
Well, number one thing for me was nurse the tires because even in my practice stints, I knew like, and after the first race, I knew like the tires, especially the rears, were shot after already half of the race, and then there's another half, like another 20 minutes to go. So I was like, okay, if I just keep it clean, if I don't heat up these rears too much, spin them up, I have a pretty solid chance of like attacking at the end, which actually quite kind of worked out because I felt like I had better tires compared to the people around me.
Yeah, and it ended up working in your favor for heat number 2 as well, or for the feature race. That pit stop being very quick, 13.9 seconds versus drivers around you that were 15 seconds in the lane. Were you fuel saving at all? Were you conserving some speed perhaps?
Well, actually, well, the first of all, the fuel calculator was doing a good job. But no, like, since I didn't want to go for every fight I see ahead of me, at least in the first stint, I was like, okay, maybe instead of sending it this time, I can have a lift or two here and there, and that already adds up. Like, this can make a difference of a liter or two in the pit stops, and that makes, again, a second or two in race time. So I just try to conserve a bit more in the first stint and then just to attack later on, which kind of worked.
It did. Absolutely. Now, congratulations on your result for heat number 1 and for heat number 2 coming back in P3. It's looking good for you in the points for the championship. Are you coming back for the next race?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised that I got so far already. I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna be in the mix, but to be in such a position definitely is a confidence boost for the next few races.
Absolutely, sir. Anybody you want to shout out or anybody you want to thank, Mert?
Yes, Jacob, Josh, basically the entire Coop Motorsport crew for making almost every race I attend with them very exciting, positive and negative.
Well, shout out to them. Thank you very much for joining me, Mert. Really appreciate you. Have a great day, and as always, make sure you stay safe out there.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. Now, that was a great interview with Mert Menderes to wrap things up here at the at the Real High broadcast booth. Brought to you by the Sausage Dodgers. This has been the Porsche Cup, folks. And it's been a great time here in Florida, but as all good things, some must come to an end. Big shout out and thanks to everybody in the Patreon. Thanks to all of our subscribers in that tier 1 category. Leslie Simpkins, Andrew Kenny, Mark Richards, and Jack McCarthy. Really appreciate your guys' love and support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications of when the Sausage Dodgers go live next. It's been a pleasure, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place for more Porsche Cups. And as always, make sure you stay safe out there. Bye-bye for now.
We'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays.